what we all think is that the 11th of September was a horrible thing. I mean, we all sympathize. But what can we do? We have extremists, just like you have extremists in your religion. What you're doing now in Iraq and by supporting the Israeli government is creating more bin Ladens each day. I mean, more people are now willing to hate Americans, and I'm sorry to say this. More people are now willing to hate Americans, not only in the Middle East, but all around the world. And believe it or not, I mean, before the war in Iraq, there were like two kinds of people. People who didn't care about Saddam Hussein and people who loved Saddam Hussein. And after the war, people who didn't care about him suddenly became sympathized with the man.
Why do you think Bush came to Iraq?
I think Bush came to Iraq because he felt like Saddam Hussein was dangerous to the world community, especially America, and he felt like Saddam Hussein was being a terrible dictator who was oppressing his people.
Why is all the ministries destroyed except the Ministry of Oil? What have you got to say about that?
Well, I think that makes sense because the economy of Iraq is based on petroleum. I mean,
don't try to twist things.
The oil supply needs to be, protected. This is for, it's just for the good of the future of Iraq.
Just the oil supplies. We've got a whole mentality. We've got an education ministry. We've got everything just like you guys. Do you think oil is just the most important thing?
یعنی نمیدونم من خودم مجله ها رو نگاه میکنم مقاله های مختلف نمیدونم چرا فکر میکنن ایرانی‌ها تروریستن یعنی این چیز عجیبیه واقعا اینجوری نیست.
This morning two of our youth took me to a Palestinian refugee camp that has been in Jordan since 1955, and it was quite an incredible experience for me because some of the graffiti was quite astounding to me, because it was all about the return to Palestine. These people have been there for years and years and years, and yet Palestine is still burning in people's memory, and it's written all over the walls. There was an Israeli flag painted on the street for people to walk on. And there was Hussein graffiti sprayed on some of the buildings. And for me it was really indicative of the sense of anger that's here.
I just wanted to add something. I mean, it's not that people actually like Saddam Hussein because they know he's a big dictator, and but it's just they hate Bush more. Me myself, I'd be confused because I really don't know which one I hate the most, and I really hate Saddam.
Take a look at that. That's what Bush gave us. That's his new freedom. That's our freedom, holding machine guns.
Forbidden by Saddam Hussein, now it's free by Bush's administration. This is the freedom.
Now you have to have a gun in your hand because you're not stupid enough to live in like a jungle without having anything to protect yourself.
Would you ever marry someone from another ethnicity? Or would he have to be Jordanian, he or she?
It doesn't matter if he's going to be Jordanian or not, but I would want him to be a Muslim guy because I'm Muslim and my parents wouldn't want me to marry someone other than that because it's going to be like going out of my religion, which is not really accepted in our religion, in our society. So if he's going to be an Arab guy like Lebanese or Syrian or Egyptian or Palestinian, that's fine with me, but I think it's more acceptable if he's a Muslim
What
guy.
if you fall in love with a Christian man?
I'd have to stop myself because we won't have a future.
Martha, you're Christian, right?
Yes, I'm Christian.
Would you marry a Muslim woman?
If I fall in love with her, I think
Really?
I would do it.
And do you think that the family would create a huge amount of pressure?
Yeah, it would be a humongous pressure. It could mean that I won't talk to my family for years or stuff like that. But eventually, I think they'll cope with it.
Fahed, how about you?
Well, I'm a Christian too. I don't know about marrying a Muslim girl. I've experienced this because my aunt married a Muslim guy, and it made like a huge problem in the family. She's not talking to my family like for 10 years now.
I close the window because I hate the sun. Yeah, really. I like to be in the dark. This is my parents' room. They sleep in here. My dad is in the army, and this is his coat in the army, so he wears this. Well, I'm a little bit worried about my father because, you know, he's in the army and now he's in the north and we're going to face a war. And in the war, you know, you can find a lot of dead people. I ask the Lord to, let's say, save his soul and turn him back to us safely. Basically, I count life as, let's say, life sucks. And I don't know if my friend agrees with me.
Basically, the life sucks too, but it might be sometimes a beautiful life.
Superpower, culturally very rich, and clueless. Probably highly capitalist. Their local newspapers basically talk about local issues, and there's a lot of ignorance regarding international politics. Half of them, or a bit less, can't even locate Iraq on the map, and this is dangerous.
The United States backed some of the most repressive regimes in the area, while at the same time carrying the banner of democracy and freedom. So I don't know how well positioned the United States is to do that now with its credibility so suffering at such a low.
They sponsor dictatorships, and dictatorships will lead to terror. They are trying to fight terrorism, but they're still sponsoring dictatorships.
What upsets me and scares me is the naivete of the American voter, because the American voter gets to decide basically what happens to us. And I would really feel much safer if the American voter knew what he was doing, because what the ballot that you put in dictates how we live in a large manner.
The Americans knew exactly why they were going there, but they weren't expecting to see such high resistance and inter-confessional conflicts. They knew that this might arise, but they didn't know that it was going to take so much time and so much effort and so much money. And I'm talking about the citizens especially, because they had absolutely no idea what they were going in.
You know, you come call for peace and democracy, but all you do is you come in with your tanks. You come and say human rights and peace and I don't know what, and you were even voted out of the Human Rights Commission in the mid-90s in the UN. You come and say equality, and you go to the States and you see there's problems with, small ethnic groups, Hispanics, African Americans, all of those are, there's discrimination against them. How do you expect the people to love you, especially that you're selling democracy?
Primarily, when Americans look at the Arab world, they look at it from an economical or political point of view. They do not want, they want to hear about Arab oil, Arab guns, but they never want to hear about Arab culture, Arab history, Arab achievements. This area of the world has been largely neglected for, even after the end of the Ottoman rule, up until now, it has never been at the forefront of the entire world's focus or even any sort of attention, except, of course, when it comes to its economical assets or its benefits.
مثلا من یادمه موقعی که 11 سپتامبر اتفاق افتاد چقدر تحت تاثیر قرار گرفتم. یعنی اصلا یه بغضی اینجام گرفته بود که داشتم خفه میشدم. برای من هیچ فرقی نمیکنه که اونجا آمریکاست، مثلا عربستان یا آفریقا، اصلا هیچ فرقی نمیکنه. مهم اینه که این وقتی یه همچین چیزی میبینم تحت تاثیر قرار میگیرم. اما مطمئن نیستم که مثلا یه جوون آمریکایی اگه بهش بگم مثلا در ایران یک بمب منفجر شده و مثلا 500 نفر مردن، مطمئن نیستم که تحت تاثیر قرار بگیره.